Welcome to Yoga for First Responders on Air, where we break down yoga, neuroscience, resilience, and public safety in a manner that's authentic, educational, and most importantly, entertaining and lighthearted. I'm YFFR's founder, Olivia Mead. As a yoga instructor and neuroscience enthusiast, I'm passionate about supporting first responders and anyone looking to improve their overall human performance. Each week, we'll dive into a new topic and often bring on expert guests to share their insights and experiences. But we'll also keep it real and share our own stories and struggles along the way. So whether you're a first responder or seeking to master the science of mental and physical resilience, this podcast is your ultimate guide to triumph over life's challenges with unbreakable strength and unwavering fortitude. By pressing play, your training has begun. Okay, so Jess and I just did 2 neural meditations as we walked. It's the day before instructor school, and we did do 2 different ones. So now we're kind of debriefing on it. And Jess, the part you just said, which I want you to say again, was the exact thing that struck me when I heard it.
So I was doing the neural meditation about the things that maybe I've been hiding, and one thing she talked about during it that really struck me that I didn't want to forget was she said, you're not making yourself bigger than anyone else, you're just not making yourself smaller.
Right.
So it's like allowing myself to feel bigger, not make myself bigger than other people. Like I don't have to be afraid of being big. I think that's one thing that really I struggle with, that I've seen in my shadow work before, that like, you know, if I were to be like really let my judgment side come out, something that I find like almost like the word gross comes to mind, like is when people are really loud and kind of outrageous or have big hair and like just super, you know, like
take up space.
Yes, take up a lot of space, and it almost feels gross. And obviously there's ways you can do that are not gross, and ways that you can do it that are really just being yourself. And I think that's the hard part that I have, is that like I see it as almost like a dangerous thing. Like I don't feel like I can take up that space, and so it feels dangerous to me or gross.
Well, I think 2 people can do maybe the same actions, dress the same way, all that stuff. And if one, the energy is coming from ego and need for validation, it gets annoying. And then someone else who's truly in their authenticity and showing the signal of who they are, we probably engage or see them as expanders, because it comes from authenticity.
Right.
So I think that's because I know what you mean when someone's just being too much, and you don't, we would never want to be that person.
I've been told that I'm too much, and a lot of times that was in relation to my feelings and things like that. And so I think just even being told that part is what really sent me down that trail of feeling like I need to make myself smaller, make myself easier to manage or deal with,
palatable, or and that's the thing, is like I also think that you and I both, you know, want to be humble people and want to help others and have this empathetic heart, that we're afraid to be big because it means that we're going to make everyone else small. And it's like, no, you can be big too. I just don't have to make myself smaller.
Right.
That's not my job in this world.
Exactly. And it's something else that she said, because I'm going into this week doing something that I find not so comfortable, and doing lots of presentations. And so I think maybe Eric or someone said it to me last time, is in a way that I was like, oh yeah. And I mean, I know this. It's like, as long as you know like 20% more than the people in front of you, you are an expert. So don't like discount that. Do you want to go that way?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
If you have something, I always say, if you have something to contribute to this conversation, then it's valuable.
Yeah. But one thing she said was like, you know, if you are living in that true worth and that magnetism, you are telling other people that it is okay to do that as well, and that
you're becoming an expander for them,
and you're like saving them from themselves of keeping themselves small. It's just like, in a way, reminds me of, tomorrow when I get up to speak, doing a new class. It's like I can stand up there and feel like it is my place.
Well, and also, like, one of the reasons I don't teach all the yoga classes or whatever, well, many reasons. One is sustainability. And also everyone does have a valuable lens besides me, of course.
Right.
But also, like, they need to see Mark teach yoga. They need to see a firefighter teach yoga. They need to see a different voice than mine, yours, stand up there and teach. Because if you make yourself small when you're doing that, you're telling them you can't be big either when you're up here. And we're training them how to present. So you almost, like, part of it, is the information you're giving them. But the other part is how you do it. You're teaching them how to do it. And I say this in the first yoga class of Instructor School, is that you're two people. You're observing yourself in yoga and taking yoga, but you're also observing all your instructors, noticing what they do that you like, what kind of coaching cues you like, and you're gonna pick up on that. And so by how you present, how I present, how Mark presents, how Ryan presents, is all going to indicate to them how they would like to do it. So if you're like me, where we're in the heart of servitude, and it really helps to make this sort of about someone else, then say, okay, I got to stand up here my worth, so these people know they can do it too. The golden shadow, when I did that one, and it's kind of like hard for me to say out loud because I feel like I'm not supposed to, and it's power. It's to be powerful and to have a large audience look at my creations. And I feel like we're not supposed to say that.
That's what mine was visible, and which really I haven't had come up before. Like, I felt as mostly like the all-encompassing word would be magnetism, because I don't think I let my magnetism show as often, especially when I'm around people that aren't maybe on the same wavelength or speak the same language as me. But it's like being visible, like not as like, I don't even, I wrote it down in my journal and it made more sense then. But I can't think of what I even wrote right now.
Well, and by the way, if you haven't listened to, obviously I'm doing this for a quick cast. If you haven't listened to our little from the field, these neural manifestations or neural meditations are from a company called To Be Magnetic. We'll put our affiliate link in the notes because we get a small little baby commission. I don't even have to say that. It is a small commission, but do you see how, like, already I'm like, don't think we're gonna benefit at all. Well, you know what? Everyone needs money. Okay. So maybe it's like a $5 commission, but it's something, and we shouldn't be afraid of saying that because we do it,
And we really just want everyone else to have these tools, just like whenever we're teaching YFFR. It's really, we just want this in the hands of as many people as possible, because we know that in turn, it's going to make the world a better place if more people can get through all their shit. And also, go ahead. No. I was going to ask you. No, you go. I was going to ask what meditation you did.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wanted to ask, so visibility, and what's the platform, what's the area you want to express that visibility?
Yeah, I don't like...
Because mine was power on social media. And I know that might seem cringy to say, but not in the way I want to do it. I'm not here for validation or ego. It's just the best platform to get as many eyes as possible on the creations I'm putting out.
I think one thing I've always said, and I was talking to Chatty about this when I was doing my journaling, is that, like, I always tell friends, like, we were talking earlier about my shorts, and I was like, I'm the original influencer, like, like I always tell people about the things I'm doing, the stuff I'm wearing, the things I've bought for my home that make my life easier. Like, it's all stuff that I think will enrich someone's life, whether it's feeling good about themselves and the clothes they're wearing, or how they go through life in their home, because I think, like, an efficient home makes me happier, so it's probably gonna make someone else happier.
Yeah.
Like, I always call myself, I'm like, I could totally be an influencer, but who has the time to do that?
I know you need,
but it
reminds me of that book I'm reading called Yesteryear, if anyone wants to read it. It's about influencers.
Yeah, it's just like, I always say, well, who has the time for that? But honestly, would I even feel comfortable putting myself out there that much? Like,
well, it does take a lot of work logistically. It really does.
Yeah.
And also, I think, like, when I was going through your meditation, and it was kind of like, well, what's the fear of if it works or doesn't work?
Yeah.
And the fear is that I'd be wrong.
Right.
I'm wrong. I thought I had something to offer. I worked so hard and wasted a lot of time and money, and it didn't fucking work. Yeah. Like, no one wanted it. So
it reminds me of when I trained for a full marathon. So I used to run a lot, and I did a lot of 5Ks, and that was a way for me to create a community when I was out in South Carolina and knew nobody. So it was a great way, not only for that, but also my health, and I had a puppy and all that stuff. But I started running 5Ks, and then I did a 10K, and then when I came home to St. Louis, eventually I started training for half marathons. And then one day I was like, yeah, I should do a full marathon, and I was going to sign up for Disney, and I was so afraid to tell people that I was doing it because what if I fail? What if I don't finish?
Right.
And then I didn't finish, and I was like, the whole time, like, riding that little bus back to the finish line, and they even gave me a medal, and I was like, I don't deserve this. I was like, this is not mine. Like, I didn't actually finish the race. Like, I just felt like such a fraud.
Yeah.
And like, oh man, what are people going to think? And so it's like, it's this visibility piece of, like, I still have trouble putting it into words. I think also because that's what I'm working on, really, is finding my worth within. I think, like, when I think about that stuff, it starts with YFFR, I think, because I think as a mom or other things, you have a harder time, like, you're figuring out, like, how do I express that as in this world? And so it's like with my work and with YFFR as a COO, and like honor, like standing in that worth of that my job is important, that I do a lot for this organization, you know. I know the people inside this organization know that, but I don't let people outside of the organization know that. And so like, I think standing in that visibility, but
I think you just hit on something, because I know you feel this and I feel it too, is a lot of I notice friends and family especially don't think I have a job.
Yeah.
Or they think I'm just teaching stretching all day.
Yeah, like, they're like, oh, you teach yoga, and then you have like your little cute little, like,
and that you can take time off whenever you want, or this or that. And it's not that we don't give time off, it's that, no, we have launches, we have pressing things we have to do, like, you know,
it's real work. It's not just
it's real,
a fun little side hustle.
No, it's real work.
Project.
We're generating our own income, which is like, you're not guaranteed a paycheck. You got to like keep the engine going to get the money to come through, you know? So, and I noticed that no matter how many times I tell people in my life, they just don't get it. Like, even my parents, until they saw the few people at IDR that came to HQ, did they even understand?
They were like, and who are all these people?
And they didn't. And my mom's like, oh, I'm so proud of you. Yeah, this is a fraction of the people that we affect, you know? And so it's definitely frustrating. And you're right, like, how else do I express?
Yeah.
And I think that's actually why I started my Substack too, is to put myself as Olivia. This is who I am and what I do. Because otherwise it's behind the scenes, really, until we're here at an instructor school and can show our wares. Like, look at our manual. Look at all the stuff that we have created behind the scenes for you. So
I think it's still something I'm like trying to figure out of how to express that. But so it's a work in progress, as always.
Mine was, and so this is part of a Be Seen challenge that To Be Magnetic does. We did it at the same time that we did our 21-day breathwork challenge, which we were supposed to do a live call for today.
I know,
but you know what, we were
so busy, we just didn't have time.
And it's okay, but we'll say something on social about it for anyone who did it. It's on the platform, like, permanently. So if you're a member of our online platform, You can do it whenever. But the meditation I did was called Big Feelings. And it was basically like we've determined what is blocking our signal. Like there's one thing to be authentic in who you are, and the other thing is to shine that authenticity out. A lot of us still perform to be palatable for people, you know? So I realized that my sort of fear was making sure, God, I had a nice sentence for it, but it was, am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right in what I'm doing and saying? And it's a little bit different from validation, I think. But anyway, the feeling that came up that needed to be acknowledged was, you know, I think I grew up always trying to avoid mental anguish. And so I was trying to have a life where everyone was happy and I was doing good and I wasn't causing any bad feelings in myself or other, even if it meant keeping myself small. And so that I felt and noticed where it came from. I also realized that, like, and again, it all comes back to how I was raised, but if I think of the scariest, worst case scenario, then if I can cover those bases, then I'm safe. I'm not, it was like risk intolerant, sort of. But if I say, okay, you're allowed to take the bigger risks and you'll still be safe, you'll still be loved, you'll still be held. So, and also, this is another big thing that came up, I think, is that I've had incidents. So if my lower self is talking to my higher self, the lower self that needs to be safe and protected, she was saying, I can point to so many incidents where I was wrong. I was right in the fact that I was wrong, you know? Yep. And this came up early in YFFR work, where I think I don't know if it came from jealousy or this or that, but people were cruel to me, telling me how bad and wrong I was. I have a couple incidents I'd love to tell you about, but there's no need to name the people or places. But I was listening to that because I thought everyone else is here to tell me if I'm doing things right or wrong. And so I was listening to everyone, and I was listening to the low frequency people. And then I kind of realized in this meditation, and then it says, okay, what does your higher self want to say to your lower self? And my higher self says, there are so many people in this world talking with opinions and squawking about, and they all have different wounds and vibration levels. And you can choose to tune out the low ones and accept the high ones. And I'm not saying low, high versus praise or feedback or like whatever, constructive feedback. There's constructive feedback that's high vibration. And there's praise that's low vibration. I'm talking about I get to choose what comes into my brain. And I get to choose avoiding mental anguish, not from a survival point of view or a fear, but from the wanting to be easeful and have ease in my life. So the example comes up that I was talking to you about earlier was I wrote a Substack that mentioned briefly an ex-boyfriend, not by name, but he knew it was him, and he read it, and I saw a reply email come in, and I'm choosing to not read it. And at first I was like, am I avoiding conflict? Like in the past, I would have felt like it was my obligation to read it because he was my teacher. No, he wasn't really my teacher, but like in this world, he's my teacher. He's here to tell me what my Substack article actually meant.
In this instance.
In this, you know, and I'm like, well, actually, no. And it doesn't matter what you think because I'm not here for your opinion.
Right.
And you are answering a question I never asked. So I have no obligation. He's a low vibration person. And if you're listening to this right now, you are. Okay, don't send me an email about it. Or at least to me, lower than my vibration. Anyway, I can turn that down and choose to not bring in mental anguish and instead choose to go on a walk with you, you know? So that's kind of what I realized from that is, oh, this is what was happening before, was path of least resistance in terms of
right. It's not always
anguish.
the right thing to do,
Right.
to take the path of least resistance. It's actually, and more often than not, it's actually the wrong path to take, because
you're not learning anything.
Yeah, you're not
you're
challenging
staying
yourself.
super safe.
Yeah.
You're not expressing, and maybe we'll go this way and then around and then go back. Yeah. And also now the harder thing, which ends up being the path of least resistance, is to make the choice to not read that email, make the choice to do this neural meditation. And what's hard is making the new choices. Do you want to do this or that? I was going to say go around and then go that way. The hard thing is to, you're in such a habit of making certain choices, is to choose differently. But then in the end, it's more easeful. So all of these are things we're learning in order to be able to shine out a signal of our authenticity. Which is why I actually wanted to do this as a podcast. Speaking of...
It directly correlates with what we're doing with YFFR.
Yeah.
And if we do that work for ourselves, it allows us to be able to serve better as well.
100%. And then in turn, those of you who want to be instructors can serve better. You know, we do a whole thing at Instructor School where you practice presenting, and I give a lot of feedback on how you stand and how you speak and even how to start the presentation. And it seems trivial, and you've seen so many people do it not effectively that you think that's normal. And people I know, they get annoyed with me. Someone in our last instructor school started to introduce herself, and I literally said, no one cares. No one cares about your name.
Because we also had already given instruction
to not do that. Yeah, that was on top of it all.
Yeah.
But the point is how you present in more ways than one is going to positively send your message out.
Yeah.
So we're here in Salt Lake City to do a private in-person instructor school. We have one open instructor school a year, March, Albuquerque. You can get on the wait list now. But if you can't wait, join virtual instructor school. We make you do the same thing, just on video. So you actually have to film yourself and watch it. So even harder. But yeah, we're definitely doing our own work. And Jess, you mentioned visibility on, especially as in your work.
Yeah.
So here's your chance. We have from here to the end of the path. Tell everyone what you do and why YFFR couldn't survive without you. And don't say, oh, that's not true, blah, blah, blah. No, it's true, or pretend it's true.
I do know that YFFR couldn't survive without me.
I
do, because I know that, like, if I were just to leave today, like, Eric would try really hard to fill in, but he also has a full-time job. Yeah. And I know he and I have similar tasks and stuff, but let's not, like, harp on that, okay? So I am the COO of YFFR. I am a co-founder of Arient, and I make sure the shit happens.
Yep.
I take what Olivia has in her beautiful little brain and figure out how to make it happen. And you know, I remember the first time I really felt like I stepped into that was creating Virtual Instructor School. We had someone else on the team at the time who you were kind of assigning that project to, and I was like, no, I'm going to figure this out because I know, like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first time I was like, I'm doing this. I don't care who says what. Like, this is just what I'm going to do. And that's kind of what I do all around in YFFR. I figure out how to make the things happen.
It's the mechanics.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, you do so much mechanics. You do so many things to make our lives efficient, easeful, effective. And I'm glad, like, give us just a couple tasks one might find. Like, if they walked into your office, what might be a couple tasks they may find you doing?
researching how to create a workflow so that something is automated so that our small 3-person team can be able to do the work they want to do rather than the work that just has to happen because we're a business. Researching, trying to figure out where we should do our next retreat, what time of the year would be best for our instructors because of cost, and how to get people there, what kind of things we should include in the retreat that we're not already doing.
I'd also say when I invent something new,
Yes.
like a new presentation, she has to whip up a landing page
Yeah,
for it and
like-
a way for people
yeah,
to sign up.
I've figured
and then
out
I'm like, I want to give this person a discount. How do I do that?
Stop.
But only for 1 month.
Yeah, I have found that I am now also a web designer. I have coded things. I have come into all these different things that I now do that sometimes it's really hard to remember and recognize. So it's good to have work with people like you, that does recognize it.
So I think it's not only like everyone else recognizing your value, but when you recognize it and you tell people, I recognize it. When I put my picture out when I won Best Buns 2007 in Las Vegas, see, I would have never mentioned that before. And I put it out on social media, and I realized like there were some comments that were like cringy, whatever. I barely read any comments. But I wasn't asking. I realized, I'm not asking, am I beautiful?
Right.
I'm saying, I know I am. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference, you know?
I read it as you're reminding yourself that, hey, I'm in a different stage of my life right now, but I still, that part of me is still there.
Yeah.
That's what I saw it as.
Yeah. So. All right. Good work. We did it.
Hey, before we go, I want to remind you that training your mental and physical health is incredibly important, especially for those working in high-stress jobs like first responders.
And if you're interested in learning more about yoga for first responders, visit yogaforfirstresponders.org for our on-demand training app, online course platform, in-person training, and more.
Like this podcast, subscribe, and give us a great review. We are so happy to have you part of the YFFR mission.